No mai hoki mai I te wiki Marae tēnei ata ko Miriama Kamo home. Well, the first 100 days of the new national-led coalition government have come and gone, and with it Te Aka Whai Ora. The Māori Health Authority was launched less than a year ago to address Māori health inequities. In 2019, the Waitangi Tribunal released a highly critical report on the state of Hauora in Aotearoa, which said Māori men die 8 years earlier than non-Māori, Māori women die 9 years earlier than non-Māori, Māori die from cancer more than twice the rate of non-Māori, Māori with heart disease are nearly 9 times more likely to die than non-Māori. The Tribunal said Māori aren't afforded the central role guaranteed under the treaty, and that the arrangements don't recognise mana motuhake and tino rangatiratanga rights in the primary care sector. The Tribunal went on to say that the health system is institutionally racist, and this was supported by the then Director General of Health, Ashley Bloomfield. So what will replace Te Aka Whai Ora, and how will the new arrangements deliver rangatiratanga and improved quality and length of life for te iwi Māori? Dr. Shane Reti, the Minister of Health, is with us. Tēnā koe. Great to have you with us this morning. Thank you for coming in.
Te a koe, Miriama. Good to speak with you.
Oh, me koe hoki. You used urgency to disestablish Te Aka Whai Ora. No select committee, no public input, just gone. Why?
So we were ambitious for the 100-day plan to progress, but on that point, let's remember for nearly 3 years we've been discussing the Māori Health Authority. Almost a week after it was first announced, it might have been April 2021 as I recall, almost weekly I've been having discussions, doing media on the Māori Health Authority. It's not that it hasn't been discussed, furthermore it was well canvassed during the campaign trail, so there have been a large number of discussions around the pros and cons of the Māori Health Authority.
Why no public input?
That was public input, 3 years of public input, actually.
But to do this, to disestablish under urgency, what was the point? Why did you need to do it that way?
We needed to move quickly to set a clear direction of travel. Furthermore, with the clear intent that this was going to happen, it was expressed to me that there were really important staff in the Māori Health Authority who needed certainty. They needed to know whether they had a place, what the direction was or not, because they were starting to fall away and choose other careers and vocations. So there was some urgency expressed to me by the authority to move this through.
There was a sense that the government wanted to move ahead of the Waitangi Tribunal hearing. How much did that play into it?
Zero. This was well scheduled before they'd even decided that they would present. This was the pathway that was in motion already. There was nothing to that.
How do you achieve equity for Māori in an unequal system?
So the Ministry of Health has a tool. In 2008 they developed the Health Equity Assessment Tool, which is a tool of about 10 questions, which is sort of a filter, a policy filter if you like, for planning and strategy. And it is but one tool, but an important tool to help reduce inequities. Now, as part of Pai 2, which is the standing Māori health strategy, it is to renew that 2008 Health Equities Assessment Tool. But that is one of the tools to start reducing inequities.
So there's been the suggestion that Te Aka Whai Ora was a race-based system. You do accept that the Waitangi Tribunal is correct in saying that the system that we have is racist?
So I think that what this starts to get to is an understanding that on one level, many of us don't disagree with the destination for where Māori health wants to get to.
Yeah.
The Māori Health Authority was one journey towards that. We have a different view of a journey towards that. But you know, some of the health outcomes, and we can talk about that maybe later, the Māori health outcomes, I don't disagree with. How could you? They're the factual ones. In fact, you promote some of them coming in.
So you would say that the current system is racist?
What I would say is I don't disagree with the destination to reduce those inequities and to attend to those inequities, but I have a different journey to get there.
Why say that Te Aka Whai Ora is a race-based agency, but not say, well, actually the system that we have in place at the moment is racist? And this is the evidence to prove that.
Look, I think that starts to talk about form. I think we actually need to be talking about function. We actually need to be talking about, let's talk about hearts, lungs,
very important, and we will definitely get to that. But don't we need to understand the framework that we're working within? We are in a racist framework, and we need to get to the function to deal with that.
And so what I'm proposing, apart from the journey that Te Aka Whai Ora was going to move through, and by the way, I just want to sort of acknowledge here all those who are currently working with the Māori Health Authority and the dream that it was. I don't want to diminish in any way all the workers who worked so hard to get this dream to where it was. I understand that this dream is now a different pathway in my hands. I get that. But we want to propose an alternative that I would put to you would do even more and better, certainly the tino rangatiratanga you were talking about, than what Pai Ora was going to allow.
Is it not the case that you're just returning to a singular framework which has proven to fail Māori over and over again?
No, it's not.
So pulling it into this racist health system that we have is not going to fail Māori.
Oh, I would be reluctant to say that the Māori Health team from the Māori Health Authority who are moving into the Māori Health Directorate are racist, or that the Māori Health Directorate and
I'm
the
not
MOH
saying anyone is racist. I'm saying that the system of delivery has not served Māori in an equitable or equal way.
I would also have some cautions around those people from the Māori Health Authority who are moving back into the system, and I know you're not saying this, but projecting that they might then be moving into racist views or a racist
No, what I'm trying to say is here is the structure that's been in place. How has that served Māori? We know it doesn't because we've seen the evidence that it hasn't. And so moving it back into that framework, how will that serve Māori? And that is no value judgment on anybody that's working in it, but on the system itself and how it has not served Māori.
Then that's how we should talk about what the alternative is.
Let's talk about the alternative. Let's move into that. What do you want to do? I know you've got 5 targets.
Yeah, well, no, let's just talk about Māori Health for a moment, because those are targets for everyone, if you like.
Okay.
For Māori Health, particularly, several things. In the legislation, what I also did was build up the Hauora Māori Advisory Committee. I think that's useful. I think that very powerful committee can be proactive to me, can be reactive, can be interactive. The council has already been wise. It was a part of the existing legislation. I would like that to do more.
So you've used the word somewhat to power up that committee. In what way?
I want them to be able to roam further. I want them to have more of a monitoring role for Māori health outcomes across the whole system. I want them to also look at financial as well as non-financial reporting. I want to give them wider scope and wider breadth. I think they've got an important role to play, firstly. Secondly, what I have said is to the 15+2 iwi Māori partnership boards, I am interested in giving you strategic commissioning so that you can make local decision making around what services are most needed in your rohe. Pai Ora forbade that. That was not possible under Pai Ora. They could not be locally commissioning IMPBs. I am exploring giving them that commissioning authority. There's a big difference. There's Tino Rangatiratana and Mana Motahake right there, actually.
Got you. So when people say we want solutions that are by Māori for Māori, is that where you're heading? Is that what you want? That is exactly where I'm heading.
And the discussions I had with them in Christchurch about 10 days ago, saying, look, this is what this could look like. I'd like you to assess the needs of your rohe. I'd then like you to triage that. I'd then like you to look at how you might strategically commission it, and then monitor it and then report it. This is how I'd like to power up IMPBs as well, correct?
Okay, your first target is to do with cancer. I think we've got a graphic for those cancer statistics. Nearly 3,000 Māori are diagnosed with cancer every year, 20% more likely to get cancer. Māori are twice as likely to die from cancer than non-Māori. Lung cancer accounts for more than almost a third of all cancer deaths in the country. For Māori, I should say. We're more likely to get cancer. We'll get it younger. We're diagnosed later. We have poorer access to treatment, more likely to die from cancer than non-Māori because of inequities in the health system. How will putting a 90% target on patients receiving cancer management within 31 days of the decision to treat going to have an impact on that?
So what that does is when you have a target like that, it focuses resources, it focuses attention, it focuses the system on reaching and trying to achieve that target. That's what that does. And you're absolutely right. In fact, there's probably almost no cancer that I can think of that Māori are less affected than non-Māori, as I think about it. I would say almost every single one, actually. And so what a target like that does, as I say, it brings resources, it brings attention towards where the greatest need is. And surprise, surprise, as we're just saying, the greatest need is with Māori.
So when we say that when there's this notion that everybody, all of our services need to be based on need. The truth is Māori have the greatest need, don't they?
Sure. So if you start with that, first of all, exactly as you've said it, at the first principle, based on need, and then surprise, surprise, Māori have the highest need for almost any pathology you want to talk about.
So is that line, we're going to base it on need, about appealing to the electorate, the wide electorate, not just Māori?
No, not at all. Because here's the thing, if you base a health system on anything other than need as a first imperative, that's a slippery slope. Because tomorrow you'll say, now I'm going to base the health system on the depth of your pocket. And then the next day it'll be, now I'll base a health system on your contribution to society. And you head down a slippery slope. First and foremost, health resources should be distributed on need. Whoever has the greatest need gets the resources. And then underneath that, you can target around...
Is it fair to say Māori are top of mind for you?
Oh, Māori, they're top of the need tree, as I've just said to you.
Yeah, and so Māori needs are the most important thing for you to tackle.
Just by the way, Pacifica have some needs as well, just saying.
Of course.
But Māori health needs are very high on the need tree, on almost, as I say, any paradigm we want to talk about.
So why don't you talk about that more instead of just saying, we're basing this all on need? Why not say Māori are at the top? That messaging isn't as strong as it could be. You'd have to...
Look, I'm pretty much sure if we look back through some of the statements I've made, I am saying this. Whether it's picked up or not is a different question. That is absolutely the view I've had and the actions I'll take for a long period of time.
Let's talk about tobacco.
Sure.
Lung cancer accounts for almost a third of all cancer deaths in Māori. You've previously said, I want to see continuing reductions in smoking. How do you reconcile that with your government seemingly abandoning smoke-free 2025?
8.6 to 6.8. There's your answer right there. The smoking results that came out a few months ago, one of the biggest drops we've ever had in smoking, with what we're doing, without that new legislation coming in, with what we're doing, a substantial drop, and we're committed to continuing to drive those smoking rates down.
Let's just be clear. So 2025 is still the aim or not?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, no, it is still the target.
Okay,
Yep.
So why repeal the amendments that were made? Why pull all that back?
Because we just believe that with the proposals we're going to bring forward, we can continue to drive smoking rates down, is our belief and our intention to do exactly that, actually.
It seems like the government is abandoning what would be a very useful tool in reaching those targets on the basis that it will drive a black market, and there doesn't appear to be any evidence for that.
Look, there were a range of things put forward. There was retail crime, there was a black market as some of the reasons for why this would be
But those are
changed
just ideas
and
that might
modified.
happen. What evidence was that based
Look,
on?
some of our coalition partners had brought forward evidence, and certainly it had been raised in Select Committee because they actually sat
What
through...
evidence have you seen that it would drive a black market?
Select Committee had submissions made that it would drive the black market and that it could also increase retail crime. So I saw that through the Select
So
Committee
again,
process.
anecdotal, can you quote any statistics or anything that would prove that it would drive a black market?
I would point people back to Select Committee submissions. But that's somewhat to the side of our ongoing ambitions to continue to drive smoking rates down and the success that we're having. Who would want to change that
What's
model?
the main tool there? Is it to push people to vape instead?
Actually, vaping is the main tool. And if we look at the key NGOs like ASH, who have been strongly supportive of vaping, it is actually a key tool in us reducing further smoking rates.
I understand that. Is that the main tool in driving down the smoking rates? Because then we potentially end up with a problem with vaping.
It has been one of the most effective tools in the recent past. That's correct, actually. When vaping was introduced, it rapidly brought down adult smoking rates. So it is a key tool.
So do we end up with a generation of people who are smoking less but vaping to a problem? And some would say that vaping is already a huge problem.
Yeah, that was always the problematic byproduct, and that it might be a gateway. And I know we discussed this through Select Committee as well. Goodness,
what's your view on it?
Look, my view is that we need to, and in fact it's the Coalition's view, we need to be doing more with particularly youth vaping to reduce those rates without compromising the benefits that adult smokers are getting from vapes.
So recent modelling showed the smoke-free regulations would save $1.3 billion in health system costs over the next 20 years if fully implemented and reduce all cause mortality rates by 22% for women, 9% for men. Denicotization of smoked tobacco products, a reduction in retailers needing sales of cigarettes to the next generation. These all sound very convincing. This is modelling. It seems like a statistic that is based on actual evidence. Why have you not cleaved to these
Remember, we voted against this. You know that, eh?
You've been a supporter of denicotization, though, haven't you?
I was. I
thought
thought there was. Well, this is what's interesting. We voted against the whole package, if you recall, and as we come into coalition, we're supportive, as you've mentioned, of vaping being a key tool and other measures that we can bring into the smoking reduction
What changed your mind
area.
on denicotization?
Denicotization may well have a future role. It doesn't currently in our hands. We're looking at other things that we can do, or Minister Costello is looking at other things. And so in her hands, she has my support for how we can drive rates down further.
Denicotization is no longer a priority in your mind? You don't believe that that would make a difference?
Look, I'm not going to preempt the tools that Minister Costello will bring forward.
You're the minister. What's your view?
Actually, our cabinet is the final decision maker on these sorts of things. And so I'm supportive of what I'm seeing Minister Costello bring forward for smoking reduction.
Okay, let's leave that there then. What does rangatiratanga mean to you?
Oh, rangatiratanga means self-autonomy, self-decision making, your ability to chart your own course in life, be the captain of your own ship.
Okay, and in practice that would sit largely with the iwi Māori partnership boards that you've talked about?
They'll have a key role to play in as much as that they're responsive and responsible to iwi hapu.
Okay, what weight does the government give to the value of advice from the Waitangi Tribunal?
Oh, that's a wider discussion than just me, but of course we take it into account.
What does take into account mean?
Take into account means we would read, we would see their submissions, we would reflect how our policies might change, might modify with advice that we receive.
The Waitangi Tribunal has determined that the Crown fails to properly fund the primary healthcare sector to pursue equitable health outcomes for Māori, but failing to target funding where it's needed most and failing to ensure money earmarked for Māori health issues is used for that purpose. What will be different on your watch? So
several things. You've heard the Prime Minister say that Māori health funding will be retained for Māori health. And secondly, you've also heard me talk about primary care. Primary care is broken. It's been broken for a number of years. And there's a number of things we're going to need to do. Structural changes to primary care. Clearly there's remuneration and retention we're going to need to address. So there's quite a bit of work to do in primary care.
It's a big issue for Māori, isn't it? Because getting Māori to GPs, for example, is a real struggle.
Which is where most Māori, 66% maybe, are seen by mainstream providers, maybe 33% by Māori health providers.
Yes.
So your mainstream's important.
And often ED is the place where we're diagnosed.
Yeah, it's a terrible place to be a medical home, ED, just saying. General practice is your best place as a medical home, and if for whatever reason you can't get in or can't afford it, there's other barriers.
Don't trust that system?
Sure, you end up in ED. That's not a good place to be.
Okay, so how do we change that?
What we need to do here is several things. First of all, we need to continue to support Māori health providers to be the culturally competent providers they are, firstly. Secondly, we need mainstream to continue to improve their cultural competency. Thirdly, issues of access. We need more primary care providers. We need more Māori health providers. And then we need to look at some of the barriers to access that the Māori and non-Māori are having.
So there were court battles between Māori providers and the ministry during COVID. Māori providers trying to access the information they needed to find and approach people who hadn't been immunised. I know immunisation is a very big target for you. Where do you sit on that discussion, team ministry or team Māori provider?
Team patient, and the best example is the $50 million immunisation project that I announced before December that went to Māori health providers. Clear track record there of backing Māori health providers towards a key objective that we've got with substantial sums of money.
So what does success look like to you?
Oh, success for me is timely access to quality health care that at the end of the day improves quality of life and longevity of life. But timely access to quality health care.
How will you know that you've achieved that success?
Oh, well, several things. The 5 targets that we've announced are measures of success. Increasing life expectancy, reducing those life expectancy gaps, those are measures of success.
So a target for cancer, for example, what's the target?
The target is 90% seen within 31 days, the faster cancer target, which is a 5% lift from the 85% it had been for some period of time. That's the cancer target.
How is it for you as a Māori man, a doctor, Māori doctor, sitting in this position now receiving so much criticism for the approach that National has taken?
Look, I try and stay focused on the purpose for which I'm privileged to be in this place, which is to improve the quality of life for Māori and non-Māori. And if I stay focused on that, and I hear the criticism from the side, but if I stay focused, what is my purpose? Am I effective? And I keep focusing on that, then I can keep making my way through. It's not that I don't listen. We should always listen to criticism, things we don't want to hear. That's really important, so otherwise you'll miss stuff. We've all got blind spots. But what I keep focused on the patient, I keep focused on how I can improve their quality of life, and it helps me make my way through.
Who do you report back to in your whānau? Who's on your shoulder?
Oh, my whole iwi. I carry them, I go home, I seek their counsel, I am soothed, criticised and assisted by my iwi.
What's their main criticism?
Some of the criticisms you've raised, actually, is their main criticisms And
Can
then,
they understand why you are taking the measures that you're taking? Can they even understand why you're sitting inside of National?
yes, they do. They do because they see outcomes and they say, look, we can have all this lovely kōrero about this, that and all the rest, but at the end of the day, who actually delivered ko hangareo, who actually delivered some of the core things that are still pervasive today? It was the national government. So Shane, if you can deliver those outcomes that you're talking about, then that's good with us, is what eventually it comes down to.
So you've heard the criticism from so many, from iwi Māori who have said National has not got our best interests at heart. It's disestablished Te Aka Whai Ora, which so many Māori had so much faith in. It was a huge deal to finally see something built that looked like it was for Māori, by Māori. The tobacco repeal. There's been so many examples, and in your coalition partners, so much rhetoric that has concerned the iwi Māori. How do you receive that on a personal basis?
I listen to it all, I take it on board, come back to the patient and then come back and say, I will devolve decision making from Māori closer to the home and the hapu than it has been for some period of time. That is a good thing. Keep moving in that direction.
Does it worry you though? Do you take it personally?
A little. Of course, we're all human beings. And I come from a people-pleasing profession, so of course. But at the end of the day, if you focus again on the patient, the hapu and your purpose for being here and the privilege you have to have some of the levers of change, then you lift your chin up and you get on and work every single hour you can.
What keeps you awake at night?
What keeps me awake at night is the challenges in the health system. Particularly around health workforce. There are some things I have control over, some things that are externalities that are overseas consequences and decisions that they make there. Australia bringing up $1 billion health army, it's going to have an impact on us. That keeps me up at night as to what are the key things that can shift the dial on the health system, including those things outside of my control, the social determinants of health. You know, hospitals and all the money we spend on this sort of stuff that deals with the acuteness of health. Actually, the dial changes for Māori health are income, employment, housing, education. Those are areas that we really need to focus on.
We have to leave it there, but we appreciate your time. Thank you. Tēnā koe, Dr. Shane Reti.
Ngā mihi ki a koe hoki.
Kia ora. Me toitu te reo, me toitu hoki te tiriti koe nei ngā karanga nui a te ao Māori i roto i ngā marama nei. I te pokapu o te whanganui a tāra ka kitea te whakatinanatanga o aua karanga e te huinga o etahi kai waiata Māori ki Newtown ki te whakapūmau ake i te mana o te reo me te tiriti ki mua i te rau mano tangata. E haere a Irena Smith ki te tūtaki ki ngā manutīoriori nei.
Ko te reo rōrika o Jordan with a Y. E pā oro atu nei i te atamira tangata whenua i te pokapū o te whanganui a Tara. Kia hiki anō ai te kaupapa matua o te reo Māori.
Tō patu nui ko te reo Māori. Nō reira aha ko te aha me kōrero Māori, ngā wā katoa, ngā wāhi katoa kia hora whānui tō tātou reo rangatira, i roto i ngā waiata kuoro, ngā kōrero, e hora whānui i te ao.
Nāna hoki tōna ara ki te ako i te reo Māori i para, i whakatinana hoki, hei tipare o tōna whānau.
I kuhu maiwa kotaku tāne ki tētahi kura reo, mo te kotahi tau, ruku ana ki te reo Māori, rumaki ana ki te reo Māori, kia huri te reo o te kāinga ki te reo Māori, nai nei he whare reo Māori, he kāinga reo Māori, he whānau reo Māori.
E rite ana te ngā kaunui me te aroha a ōna hoa haere, i roto i nei mahi ki te reo, ki tōna.
Ko tā maiwa, ko tā mātou noiho, He waiata i ngā waiata reo Māori, he pakanga ki roto i tērā. He tito i ngā waiata reo Māori, he pakanga nui ki roto i tērā. He pakanga nui o a tātene tamariki kia kite atu ana. He kai waiata Māori tērā, e waiata ana i tō tātou reo rangatira. He mea rangatira tērā, nā ka whai e rā tamariki i taua ara.
Toi tū te whenua, toi tū te mana Māori mo tuhake, a toi tū Newtown, tēnā tātou, MYC. Ka kite a korua.
E whakatauira ana tēnei pāpā i te mahi whakangahau me te tū Māori ki ana tamariki.
I ahua wehi te tū me ki, engari he wheako. He wheako tēnei moaku tamariki. Aha koa te hua ka puta, ko te mea nui, ko te ako. Koina tonu i te kaupapa.
Kore te koutou o te whētuara nei o Newtown, whā te koutou mai te whānautanga mai o te kaupapa o te kōhanga reo. I te rā nei e kite ana te pua waitanga o ngā kaupapa e rua.
Ngā wairua kua riro. Hui hui a mai, te marino, te ora, me ko matariki.
Ko te taki ka mahi mātou, he whakātu i te ahureo Māori, ki ngā tangata kia whai rātou te reo, ki te pirangi, e harai te mea whai. Engari, ko mātou, ko te rātou mātou reo tūtai no reira, ka whakātu ki te katoa ko tēnei mātou, kei te whakātu te ahureo Māori me te reo.
Ka mai atu ranga i a mai, nā rangi ka putaki wa o korau ka e.
Pakeke mai mātou i roto i te reo Māori, ko oku mātua hoki era i pakanga nui mo te reo, e harai te mea ko māma me papa anake, ngari oku mātua katoa i te rohe, ko te reo Māori, he tino taonga. Hoi anō, he wahanga te reo o te ahurea Māori, anei, e tuake nei.
Kei te tipu koe, kei te pua wai, he puti puti a tāhua, ko koe te riri.
Ko tōna whakatipuranga i roto i te reo Māori, e pupuri tonu nei e Cyan, i roto i ana kōkiritanga ki te taumata o ana mahi.
I've just been in the studio recording, just cooking, I guess, and had that time to really create. It's a process, you know, you go through life, and then just having that way to express your mamai, your hurt, your happiness, whatever it is, and then writing it and then put it to a song, that's what you hear.
E mau nei te ihi, te wehi me te wana o tōna ao Māori. Kia tū rangatira ai, i roto i ngā ao e rua.
Oh, it's very hard for me to sing that song without crying.
Oh, I can see why a tāhua hoki rā. Irena Smith with that story. That's Marae for this week. The team will be back with you next week. Kia haumaru te noho hei tērā wiki. Ko te reo, te take.